का घर। मैदान तैयार है, आप भी हो जाइए तैयार। सिक्का किसके पक्ष में गिरेगा, किसका? Tails is the call. And we've got heads. Batting first, बढ़िया एडवांटेज है, बड़े स्कोर में तब्दील करना चाहेंगे इस एडवांटेज।
He hasn't looked in any problems whatsoever, Nick Manninson, but it's those starts you're talking about, 330s that haven't gone on. He looks in good form. Just got to go.
आज अच्छा तो अंजाम अच्छा। आज उम्मीद यही है कि सलामी जोड़ी करेंगे अच्छे तरीके से
Why?
Tough scores, those 30s. Getting to 30s, it's really tough to get out of them, Howie.
We saw that last night, big man, 1 for 1 from 1.
फील्डिंग यूनिट का बढ़िया प्रदर्शन। अगर जीतना है तो फिर इस मोमेंटम को चालू रखना पड़ेगा। लाइन को क्रॉस करना उचित नहीं। नो बॉल का इशारा दिया अंपायर। फ्री हिट का समय है, लेकिन क्या समय बदलेगा बल्लेबाज का? सटीक लाइन, सटीक लेंथ, बल्लेबाज दुविधा में। एक और डॉट गेंद, अब दबाव बढ़ता हुआ बल्लेबाजी की टीम पर।
Lots of beautiful beaches, good wineries. Richardson won't be interested in any of that at the moment though. 1 wicket for the tournament.
इसे कहते हैं बढ़िया फील्डिंग। बल्लेबाज एक-एक रन के लिए तरस रहे हैं।
Set a real platform for the sixes.
I see his hot zone on the leg side, but that shadow, Kevin Peterson, is that difficult as a batsman or not?
बाजुए खोलने का मौका, चढ़ दिया चौका।
Well, sorry, when the bowler's bowling and he's in the sun, it's okay. But when the bowler's bowling from the shadow and you're in the sun, then it's a bit of a problem. It's a beautiful shot there from Jason Roy. He says he's in good form. He's hitting the ball really nicely. He's just managing to find silly little modes of dismissals. I thought in Perth he got a dismissal that probably wasn't working in his favour. But look in here now, Richardson will be running in, he'll be running into the sun. He'll have the ball in the sun, and yes, it'll come through into the shadows. I think the only little bit of off-put there would be his shadow is actually quite visible when he stands tall in his crease.
इस खिलाड़ी का अंदाज निराला, शॉट, बैट्समैन की गलती, फील्डर की मस्ती, मिल गया एक और विकेट। और इस इनिंग की पहली विकेट गेंदबाज के नाम। Just go back to the basics.
Unlucky in a way not to beat fine leg. There's only 2 men out, one fine on the offside and one out at square leg, which is a pretty short boundary too.
Well, you're right, Howie.
फील्डर और गेंदबाज का अच्छा तालमेल, बढ़िया थ्रो। ऐसा लगता है डाइव लगानी पड़ेगी अगर विकेट बचानी है तो।
Well, wicket dimensions, ground dimensions.
Ablett
You
Terrace.
could see some big sixes.
Ask you a few questions about Gary Ablett at the moment. Kev, have you ever heard of Gary Ablett Senior or Junior?
I've heard the name, Howie. I can't rely on national and international television and say that I know a lot about Gary Ablett, but I've heard the name.
Look up his highlights on YouTube. In that, Howie.
There's 2 of them. Okay. Explain further in a moment as the third man comes up towards the circle. Roy's on strike. Just punches in the offside. Gary Ablett Senior was a very famous footballer for the Geelong Footy Club down here, Kev. He was a superstar, spectacular. He was a bit of the Kevin Peterson of football. He was a bit of a showman, liked to entertain, controversial at times. And then his son.
I think KP's got him in a media aspect.
Yeah, probably.
Gary Ablett Senior. We didn't hear a lot from him.
No, we didn't. He was a reluctant media performer, but then his son came into the game and everyone's like, oh, how difficult is this going to be? And he's arguably become as good, if not better, than his father.
Wow.
Roy, slightly slower and he can't beat mid-wicket.
How difficult is it though?
Roy hits it hard. Oh, brilliant catch! The local hero with one hand and then doubled it up.
That was Ablett-like. A specking from the captain, and it was hit very, very hard there from Roy. Got the length he liked, right in the screws, but he didn't get enough elevation on the Bunnings Warehouse replay, and that is a specs ago, but he's actually got him to run straight away. 50 off 32 balls against the Strikers, and then 45 off 33. Good to see. He's always had a lot of potential. Hits the ball well.
Yeah, as I say, he thought that was 4 all the way, but I'll tell you what.
Jam down. Just talk about that slow ball again, Kev, for all the young kids out there and cricketers watching. You say you have to respect the slow ball. How do you pick up that it's coming?
Well, you pick it in the air, and if you're looking for it, then you pick it up as soon as it leaves the hand. If you're not looking for it and you're thinking fast, 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 and all of a sudden you commit to a ball that you know is going to be full, it should be a drive ball, that's when you lob it to mid-off or lob it to mid-on.
Do you ever go down to him, KP? Because the worry is his bouncer is always on the money.
Yeah,
how much quicker is it?
Well, I'll tell you all about his bouncer. Knocked my helmet off at Old Trafford in a test match, and so the most embarrassing part about that was I had to ask the umpire whether I was out or not when it hit my stumps. And he said, "Are you serious?"
Oh, so you were out?
Oh, I was out, yeah. Knocked my helmet off my head, landed on my stumps, out for 70 in a test match at Old Trafford, and I turned to square leg umpire and I said, "Am I out?" He said, "Are you serious?"
And were you advancing, or did it just do?
No, it was just a bumper. It was just a good regulation bumper. And you talk about the short ball, he's got a very good short ball, so no, I won't be running at him. That is for sure. Learned my lesson very quick. I think I was advancing to drive there, hit wicket. How's that? You play test match cricket, about my 50th, 60th test match. Am I out?
Yes.
Yep.
Silk jams it down to third man. So a dominant start by the Renegades in G-Town after 4, 2 for 12.
Last night against our Melbourne Stars, KP.
Silk drives. Funnily enough,
he's hurt.
Hit Richardson hard. That happened to him a couple of nights ago when he copped one in the ankle.
Well, we saw in the last game, different incident, but Stephen O'Keefe, who's not playing tonight, we're hoping he's been cleared of bone damage. Injured his lower half.
The medial side of the knee.
Yeah.
Kev, you actually have, someone sent you that photo. Hold it up to the camera and we'll try and get the great Greg Smith to get a shot of that.
That was it.
एक और एक 11 होते हैं, ये फील्डिंग यूनिट ने बता दिया है। ऑपोजिशन को आसानी से रन लेने ही नहीं दे रहे। हवा में गेंद को भेजा है, बहुत दूर भेजा है, ये देकर जाएगी आधा दर्जन रन। गेंदबाज के छक्के छुड़ा दिए, छक्का जड़ दिया।
So you saw it hit the stumps when you were asking for clarification if that was out?
Yeah, okay. I asked square leg, I said, "Am I out?" And he said, "Are you serious?" Well, I don't know. I've never had my helmet dislodged from my head before and knocked it onto the stumps.
The DJ will explain to you that you're out. Punch straight back down.
I tell you what should have been, what it should have told me was Bravo was all flying. He was right by next to the dressing room, flying in front of the Old Trafford dressing rooms.
Flem, this is a very impressive start by the home side in red.
It is, and they've mixed it up. Nabby bowled a couple of overs. He's done a good job, but there's a bit of variety. The ball in, mainly to right-hand batsmen, so they've got some natural variation in this tack. They've still got Wildermuth to bowl. Tommy Cooper often bowls an over. I don't think he will tonight. He often bowls the first over the power play.
Silk pulls hard, but 2 men out and goes straight to one of them. We saw the Big Bash week that was in the news headlines. Glenn Maxwell last night talking about the Melbourne Stars, Kev, saying that you weren't playing as a team when you were, his quote, not mine, putrid.
Yeah, we haven't been playing well at all. We've been putting one half of the game together, but you got to put two halves together here in the Big Bash. I mean, it's so competitive, and you have to play well. And if you're not playing well, you're going to get found out. But that's not saying that we're out of this competition by any stretch of the imagination. We've been 3 and 3 doing this. I think Petey Hanscom will come back to us. So I tell you what, we're not going to be far away. We just get that right, and we get ourselves sorted. We get playing good cricket again, and we stick to the basics. We'll be okay. But Saturday night is a monster at the MCG, an absolute monster.
Yeah, and were you surprised the Australian selectors went with Chris Lynn? Obviously, we know about his power and all that, but what about how resilient it is? Do you think that he can get through?
Yesterday at 45, and he can't dive,
He's
he
not
can't
fully
throw,
striding,
he can't run. So yeah, strange. But hey, you bat like that, Flem, I tell you what, you don't need to run. You just park him off at first slip, you stand him at 45, and you just let him bomb sixes out of the ground.
No, he's an amazing talent, but I am surprised, Howie, that they haven't given him more games to prove his fitness, as we see the Australian squad here. Chris Lynn, that there's T20s at the end of the one-day series. I would have thought that was a better time to get Chris Lynn back in the Australian colours. Mitchell Marsh is back after that shoulder injury. What about Tim Payne? It's almost the story of the summer, isn't it? That he almost took a job at Kookaburra Sports. Now he's keeping for Australia in, I think, all three forms. He'll play the T20s as well.
Man of the match against the Heat with 3 for 16.
Big pickup for the Melbourne Renegades. Young, all-rounder, fine player.
Silk's on strike. Going tough for the men in pink at the moment. Worked away on the onside for a single. Kevin, I'm still interested about a defeat in a T20 game. You guys play all around the world. What happens immediately after the game? Does Stephen Fleming address you? How's the mood in the rooms directly after a game where you got absolutely belted like you did last night?
Oh, last night is just one of those games where you just throw it away and you just forget about it. And you talk about it when emotions are not running high. So you just leave it alone and you talk about it. Tomorrow we've got a training session and you maybe go over a few things tomorrow and say, well, where can we improve? What did we do right? I think when you get belted like that, there are frustrations. There's people in one corner angry. There's another bloke who's sitting there going, well, how do I sort myself out? So actually a good coach, and what I think Stephen Fleming as a super coach does, is he pulls us all together and he says to us, guys, do whatever you were going to do tomorrow, whether you won, whether you lost, and we'll revisit it when we're not as emotional on Thursday. And that's exactly what he's done. And I think that's the best way to deal with it. I think the emotional coaches, the ones that shout, scream, carry on.
It's alright now. The one out one of the thing, although the batsman is not going to here, but it's alright now.
I'm afraid to say they're the interesting ones, and they're the ones that you shout and scream too much, it falls on deaf ears. But what he did last night, we'll talk about it tomorrow. It is what it is. You lost a game of cricket. You're not going to change a result by swearing at each other.
A few AFL coaches probably haven't taken that lead, to be honest, Flem.
Yeah, I can think of a few names over the years.
Shout as loud as you can. The more you get beat by, the more you shout. Maddinson on strike, advances.
But I think it was in cricket as well. When you look at the 70s and 80s and 90s, that was what coaches thought they had to do. Motivation was by yelling a lot.
Yeah, but I stand to be corrected. On occasions, I think players need a rev.
Yeah.
Because some players can be very lethargic and they can actually be sitting there just going through the motions. So occasionally you need to stand there and say, listen, mate, you need to get your act together or else you'll be somewhere else. And if you're going on a different train, you go on that train, this train's going in this direction. But if you do it too much, it falls on deaf ears.
And often smart coaches will target players that they know can take the spray.
Yeah.
So the other teammates, a bit of fear, they're going wild, but he knows that player is strong and can handle it.
Brad Hodges mic'd up. Good evening, Hodgie.
Yes, g'day, Howie.
Great to speak to you. This is some start by the men in red in G-Town.
It's good, isn't it? This is a home ground advantage for you. So
yes,
it's look, the stadium looks amazing. The wicket's good, and an amazing start for us. We've really put the clamps on here, and in what's an important power play.
Silk working away to the leg side.
Hodgie, does this actually feel like a home game for you guys?
Anywhere across the Yarra River is not a home game, KP. Got to go through passport control once you go over the bridge.
Oh, please. Come on, Hodgie.
I'm only joking. This is a great part of the world. Lots of people come down here to the coast. This is a time and place to be down here, and hence the crowd. It's similar to dropping wickets. Conditions are actually pretty close to what we've been playing on.
Thanks, Brad. Speak to him throughout the night. Just can't beat the field at the moment. There's only been one boundary for the entire innings. At the end of the power play, the Sixers are 2 for 20.
To the power play, and that just sums up their year. Stephen O'Keefe, as you can see, he is out injured for the remainder of the season, and he is going into surgery tonight in Sydney to have an operation on his high-grade ankle sprain. That may not sound serious, but it is actually the syndesmosis joint, which is sort of the ligament above the ankle, and it generally requires twice as long to recover, and surgery is needed when the joint becomes unstable due to the injury. So we wish him the best of luck with that. But Daniel Hughes, the opener, he is expected back for...
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Wow, syndesmosis of the ankle. Silk as Hogg comes into the attack.
You talk about the numbers here, 2 for 20 off the first 6 overs. I think when you've got a drop-in wicket like we've got here, the square, there isn't a square. So as soon as you hit the ball into the deck, the thickness of the grass actually stops the ball. So we have seen a couple of cover drives that have been stopped on the ring, and that's because the square hasn't allowed the ball to accelerate, and therefore the preferred option would probably be the option that Jason Roy took, albeit he just didn't connect well enough. The wicket seems good enough for it, but you hit the ball straight into the wicket on a square where it has 3 or 4 wickets next to each other, it goes for 4.
Maddinson a real keen in.
Hogg. Oh, that's a catch. That's up here. She's got.
He will not drop that.
Look at the old timer sprinting down now to the other old timer. Hoggy, his tongue's out.
Yeah, the tongue's wagging for a Hoggy, and you do not want to hit the ball.
Next warehouse replay, it said Silk. He might as well have gone hard. He was halfway in between chipping and going big. And Cam White, he's a big man. He's got big mitts. He's not going to miss that one. Just a little bit of a mini specky on the forward pocket here at Cardinia Park. Hoggy gets his first wicket. Silk has to go for 16, and the Six is in trouble.
Hogg got it in here. Another little wrong in there. You can lose direction so quick because of the decisions you have to make. Have to be ball to ball to ball to ball. You don't have half an hour to get yourself in. You need to make quick decisions. When you lose in, you make bad decisions.
Hogg to Maddinson and Shaw. That is not timed exceptionally well by Maddinson.
That might have been a flipper attempt from Bradley Hogg there. Hey KP, so how do you reset yourself then? Because you could see Jordan Silk, he was second guessing himself with that sort of shot. It wasn't defence, it wasn't overly attacking, and you're out.
And that shot there of Maddinson, I mean, if the Sixers are on fire here, he is hitting that ball to a 51-metre boundary.
Yep.
He's hitting it 100 metres, but he's a bit apprehensive to get out. They're 3 for 30 after 8.4 overs. That's another ball there. That ball's short. Stand back, hit that into the stands. It's a mental game, and that's why I'm not going to sit up here and criticise the Sixers at all, because you can get into situations in professional sport where split-second decisions at certain times of your career, you make bad judgments.
Well, I'm interested to see Sam Billings. It looks like they're going to attack his slip in place mid-off coming in as well. We have seen him play some real innovative strokes in the Big Bash. But it's a tough one. You want to reset a little bit, but your run rate's very, very minimal at the moment.
That's where the game is so fast. It's happening at such a pace. They're already into the 9th over. You're halfway through, 3 for 37. He's the overseas player. That adds more weight onto the shoulders.
They're in a bear market. They're in a recession, runs-wise. And it continues. Hogg still at his peak here. 2 overs, 1 for 9. And after the 9th over, it's 3 for 37. Got involved when she was probably about 9. You know, she's 13 now and enjoying her cricket. So if your daughter's out there and enjoying playing backyard cricket, they're ready to play T20 Blast or something like that. So go to the website and make sure if the girls are keen, go and let them play.
Yeah, but I know you guys understand the effect that you have, but the kids that look up to you guys, my young fella who's here tonight, Mackie, he's in the front yard the whole time, or as he calls himself the Big Penguin, and he hits a shot and he's straight away, he's like, would KP be happy with that shot? Would KP be happy with that shot? Then he comes and meets you today and you're like, g'day Macco, and he's just like...
How old is he, Howie?
Just turned 6.
He just turned 6, a little man.
Yeah, and
How cool is he?
Well,
first question, how are you going? Everything good? What are you doing? How's your summer holiday? Surfing.
Yep.
Surfing. Straight at dad, really?
Yeah.
He did say he's playing a lot of cricket,
He
though.
did. But
What
he
a
was,
cutie.
He was silent early doors, but he's always would Kev be happy with that, or does Finchie play a shot like that as Billings faces Wildermuth?
That's a good delivery.
I think the thing about this competition is you guys are much more accessible than when we see you in the Test cricket arena, which, as you mentioned, you're going up to Albury and just so many smiling faces and kids and looking up and actually being able to meet their heroes. I think it's
And you sign after the game.
last night. So last night after the game, we went downstairs, took the backpack off, straight back upstairs, and for 10 or 15 minutes, I mean, the youngsters, they don't. And I remember when I was a kid, I didn't care about the result. Yes, it was like, okay, but if I got to meet my heroes, the Jonty Rhodes or the Sean Paul, whatever, and you get to touch them and you get to get their autograph. I mean, it's the selfie now that is the big.
Was there an autograph that you got, Kev, or that you got, Flem, that was special in your early childhood?
Well, just to say, I'm a bit older than KP. You just didn't meet your heroes. You didn't get the opportunity to get autographs. So I can't remember.
Get down the grounds
the famous
in 4-day games or.
No, for Test match cricket, my first day was when Dennis Ely, my idol, broke the most Test wickets in history. He beat Lance Gibbs, but you weren't rocking down to Fine League and getting autographs or after the day's play. So
they wouldn't sign on the boundary.
I think I was too scared to go down.
Billings works away on the onside. What about you, Kev? Was there an autograph or someone that you looked up to as a young fellow?
Well, Hansi Cronje was my hero, so I was lucky enough to play against him and also spend a little bit of time with him. But yeah, growing up, he was my hero. And Alan Donald, White Lightning. I mean, I used to play in the backyard. Talk about backyard cricket. I used to paint my face all different colours. I think that's where my hair came from. The stupid stuff that I was wearing on my face as a youngster. And transferred it through to my hair.
And what happened to you? You're 6'4", you're built like a centre-half back, and you bowled off spin. Why didn't you bowl quick?
I didn't bowl off spin for long. I stopped
around the onside.
Well, to that boundary side, it's going to be either a single or a boundary. There's no 2s or 3s out there.
If that was you in the crowd, it looked a lot like the big man beside me. We want to get your name, especially when you take a catch as easy as that. Send us an email, crowdcatch@network10.com.au. There's a bit of you in that, Kev, isn't it?
Well, there is in the shirt, yeah. The old check number, but big point of difference, he caught it. Not sure I would have caught it watching a game of cricket, Howie.
Taken some decent ones for the Melbourne Stars.
Not watching.
Up to Jason Roy was a really good planned move, and that works. But yeah, things are going well for us. It's really interesting part of the game. They just can't seem to find the boundary.
Hodgie, are we missing something here? Is the wicket as good as we say it is, or is the wicket not as good?
No, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I know it looks fantastic, but
look, I think it's pretty good. I just think they may be playing with a fraction of a negative mindset. Having a look at the wicket first, and then see if we'll bowl some loose balls. But we actually haven't bowled some loose balls, so they haven't been able to capitalise on any width, which. A dropping wicket, if you bowl any width, it generally means a boundary. So we've tried to target the stumps as much as we can, and it's had positive results. And just to clarify too, Howie, on the passport thing, it's just a little joke between the coach Andrew McDonald, who lives down here. He reckons none of us crossed the bridge to come and say hello to him.
No, you've alienated Geelong, Hodgie. There's no need to go back on it now. He played cricket down there.
He did. Well, there's more people. Well, Finchie's from Colac. Ludi lives in Geelong.
I remember that.
Operation Dragback.
He used to be a man of the people.
Oh, shit. Now, Hodgie, I remember you talking about how you took a big grab at Melbourne football training over the late, great Jimmy Steins in your heyday. But what about Finchie's catch?
Unbelievable.
How high did he get?
Well, it looked like the chili was stuck on the bottom of his boots a little bit, didn't it? He's one for the crowd, isn't he? It was an amazing catch. And that's good leadership, isn't it? The skipper grabbing hold of an important wicket. Going well. Each other matches. Look at that. It's amazing.
Billings 2 from just 5 deliveries.
Dangerfield on the half-forward flank.
It's going to cost 4. Slow ball. Actually, you can see Bravo's reaction. He knows that he actually did Billings in flight, and it's cost him a boundary.
Hodgie, eventually when you finish your cricket career, I think personally as this one gets fired to the fence, there's an opportunity for you in commentary, so I might just be quiet and leave it up to you for the next delivery. You can set it up for us and away you go, big man.
Well, it's a welcome boundary for Sydney Sixers. Pretty unlucky there, Brav, actually. His execution in this whole big bash is being outstanding.
Keep going, mate.
Bravo in the bowl. Outside the off stump. Played away by Billings. Aaron Finch faultless today.
Is he starting to mix a little bit more?
Oh, he's been great actually. He spoke in a team meeting the other day, which is a rare find. And his leadership's great. When he comes and expresses himself like that, it's awesome. People listen, and he's such a tremendous performer. And we know that he's the performer in front of a crowd, the entertainer, the champion. And once he's up and about, he's hard to stop. We love him.
Thanks, Hodgie. 3 for 48 from 11.
3 for 49 for 11 overs. That's no good. As Hodgie said, if Hodgie's right, this wicket's good. It's a very, very good cricket wicket. They have bowled well. Yes, they have. They have to get a big score. There's only one way to get a big score, Flam. That's to start whacking them at the ground.
Yeah. I said there's some very short boundaries here in Geelong. Short ball hit well. Should be covered. They'll pick up 2. Marcus Harris there on the fence. Looks like the actual stock balls have come through okay. You know, sometimes on the slower pitches they just sit up and get hit.
It's just that first bounce again there now. That pull shot that he's just played out there, the first bounce, as it landed on the turf, it sort of stopped.
Yeah.
It's that tennis ball stop. It's not what you normally see
not
like
the
at the Wacker or the MCG last night. As soon as he hits it, it hits the deck and it speeds off and races to the boundary.
That might have been a little edge onto the body or even the helmet. You heard the shouts of catch it.
Well, it must be a decent pitch for Wildermuth to back up another bouncer. He feels like it's coming through. That could have gone to gully. Could have been out.
Could have gone to gully, but Sam Billings is really committed here on the front foot, isn't he? We saw him against Bravo in the previous over. He sort of walked at his first one. Bowled a bouncer and was a wide. He walked at his next one. Almost got done by the slow ball, but he's really committed on that front foot. When you commit yourself so far on your front foot, you don't tend to play the short ball as well. So clever bowling from Wildermuth.
Billings just guides it down to the gully for a single. We saw one of your teammates last night, Kevin Peterson, big Johnny Hastings, who is a big, strong lump of a man. He was hit hard last night by cutting, and it takes a bit to rock the big dude. I presume everything was all okay after the game.
Yeah, he was fine after the game. He led us in the field, and I did see him doing the concussion test, which is compulsory now in professional sport around the world, which I think is absolutely brilliant. You've got to match up the same numbers after a head strike as, or up to 90, I think it's 90 to 100% after you've had a head strike as to what you matched up before the tournament. So I think he's okay. I hope he's okay. He's a great, what a man that bloke is.
He got hit, but he still had presence of mind to actually kick the ball away. So I thought straight away, I mean, it's not a concussion test, but it says to me that he must
Still
have
had some
been clear
doubts,
enough to think that. Did he say much about the helmet? The strip seemed to break really quickly.
Yeah, I think it just broke at the clip. It hit him hard. Goodness, it hit him hard. It was a cross-seam delivery from Cutting.
We'll hear it up in the commentary box behind glass from 90 metres away too.
Never nice to see, is it? No, it's some horrible things with the short pitch delivery. Never nice to see.
Final ball of the over again. Madison just working the ball. There's a big gap. They should come back for 2. And it's a rare 2 tonight for the Sydney Sixers after 12. They are struggling. 3 for 56.
For a trip there, but what about the crowds though in Launceston? You were there. That was fantastic. We got over, probably get to 25,000 here in Geelong.
The reception,
Brilliant.
The reception from RT Ponting when he'd walk on or off the ground in Launceston was something.
We were played in those Ponting charity days. Isn't it? Like, how massive is it?
Well, that was the day that Ricky was out 9 times and still managed to get to 50. George Bailey was the umpire that day.
The Hawthorn boys, Cam Bruce and Isaac Smith, I think, picked him up twice each.
Raising money for the Ponting Foundation. Rick and Rihanna do a wonderful job helping young kids and their families who are battling a bit. Billings races Holt, 2 overs, 1 for 9. Madison comes a long way down the crease, so hits them, and I reckon Madison's in big trouble.
I don't like his body language, Madison. Did he say that his bat might have stuck in the ground before getting over the white line? I mean, he's walking off now.
Good fielding.
Three-dimensional player. Wow, there you go.
Tell you what, running on the side of a drop-in, it's so thick. I've been talking about it, about the ball as you hit it, how it stops because there's no square on the side of that wicket. You have a look at his bat shot, that's going to stop right next to the wicket. You've got to run, and you've got to run on the wicket. You've got to drag your bats on the fastest or the hardest part right next to the ground.
And come back into the big bash, and you just remember at the Wacker, the chance of hogging everywhere. And he's made the move to the Renegades and still getting wickets, economical. Just so much enthusiasm for the game.
Question without notice from, which is always risky on live television. They call it Chinaman bowling. Any idea why?
Yeah, I did. The great late Richie Beno explained it to me.
Oh, you should explain it to us then as they work it on the offside.
Well, I'll try and do it in this over here. I think it was a 1933 Test match between England and West Indies.
Right.
And I can't remember the batsman, but Elvis Achong was the West Indian leg break bowler who was from Chinese descent. And he bowled it, it spun past the bat, and the umpire, as the batsman dismissed, was walking past. Ludeman, very good. He just had to reach, wasn't it? If he was a little bit closer, I think his foot's down.
His foot's down. Safe as houses. Not out.
So that was it. Like Richard Beno explained it to me, and then it was coined from then on. Elvis Achong, West India.
Nice work. Didn't ask you, Kev. You didn't know when the stumps were hit by your helmet that you were out, so I wasn't going to go down that path with you. Billy's advances.
Leave me right out of that, thanks.
And Flynn's a fountain of all sorts of knowledge.
Generally useless knowledge, though. You get me to a trivia night, and I'm getting you over the line. But
you're allowed to use the right hand on those nights.
No, I don't.
You've got a load of information in front of you here, don't you?
I've showed you a couple of good.
You have. You have.
Cricket analysis sites.
You have.
Can have it do. There's a slip in now on full attack, the Renegades. Hogg's got 1 for 12. Getting his third over. It's a touch short, pulled straight down the ground. Seemingly every ball they've hit tonight has been straight to a fielder.
A lot of footage, so you can hopefully pick up a few patterns there when he's going to use certain balls. But I think he does like to go the fuller, quicker one and the bouncer as a change-up more than the other way around.
And what was the discussion amongst the team heading into tonight's game?
Just go out there and be positive. Like I said, we played some really good cricket. We batted really well, I thought, of the Wacker last week. We're just missing that much for an innings of a 70-80 plus. We saw Michael Klinger get last week, so that's probably what we're searching for, and obviously disappointing tonight, but if we can get around 120, you're never out of the game, I think.
Okay, thanks for your time.
No worries.
Thanks for Ross and Nick.
We have seen some old schools chasing, haven't we, through this big match? Really, besides the Brisbane Heat, Melbourne Stars up the Gabba, there hasn't been too many big scores.
So he's a bit of second day dust there. And they got close, didn't they, in Perth? And they travelled there yesterday, and then they come in here and they get whacked hard again here. So happens in 2s and 3s.
Ball mark way.
Been out there for 26 minutes, Sam Billings. Just one boundary. Wildermuth generally just bowling length deliveries, which in Big Bash can go the distance, but I don't know if there's just a little bit of movement on this pitch. He's been able to bowl a lot of them, 9 dot balls. Economical again. Just 1 for 20 or 3.4. So length is working again. Hoggy's hitting the stumps. Singbale's flying.
Must be doing something right if Hoggy's now hitting the stumps. He had Bravo with a brilliant run out. Bravo catch. Look at Hoggy. Look at him. Doesn't he love it?
He was a gun fieldsman in his heyday. He was super fit. Early around 15.5 on the beat test. Low to the ground. A bit older these days, so it's hiding him at 45. He's got a little bit of the strut up too.
Final ball, the over.
8 run में 17 run.
Holds himself back.
Drop that. He will not drop that.
Gee, the roar's just increased in intensity here at Geelong Stadium as well. And Nutty, who's fought beautifully throughout this big bash, Sam sent him to hit the Bunnings Warehouse replay. He does have his highest score now of 1, but didn't get in the middle of the bat. Tommy Cooper, safe hands. The Renegades, everything is going their way. They're bowled well, fielded well, and a little bit of a pump up.
Not so sure that this is the wicket that we've all seen and that Hodgie's talking about. I just think I haven't seen anybody yet. That's a full toss, so the wicket doesn't come into effect. He's hit that beautifully through mid-wicket, but I'm just not so sure that wicket is as good as we think it is. I've not seen anybody come in here yet and absolutely crunch a cover drive, really hit a pull shot convincingly.